Knock it off.
I'm not doing anything.
You're just waiting to. Hey, everyone. Oh, my God. All right, knock it off.
Well, are you going to make it?
I don't know now.
Let's go back to sleeping.
Well, I figured you just woke up and you sat up, so it'll be a good time. Hey, everyone. Knock it off. Oh, my gosh.
I'm sitting here. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, everyone. Knock it off.
Stephen Gypsy thinks you're nuts.
Hey, everyone. So, okay.
Okay, go.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the new... Oh, my gosh.
Well, it is a new day.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new day. I'm looking at Glenn because he keeps making me laugh, so I can't get this video started. So, somebody had asked how we met, and many of you that have been with the channel for a while already know that answer, but there's a lot of new subscribers and viewers, so Gypsy's over here. So I thought we'd just go over that again for all the newer folks. And if you already know the story, it's not going to be anything new for you. But it has been a while since we talked about it. And I'm in Glenn's room again, and he is sitting right across, making faces. So I start laughing. Knock it off. So anyway, I'm not going to look at him. I'm just going to look at the dot on the camera. So, all right. So anyway, how we met. So if many of you met the same way, this was back in 2002 that we met. And then I got here in 2003. So it was...
They were driving down the street and just looking for somebody to pick up.
What?
You said many of them met the same way.
Many of them.
So they were driving down the street looking for someone to pick up?
Shut up. So, all right. This is going to be the comedy show, obviously. So that's okay. We need laughter. So anyway, it was the holidays of 2002. This was before Thanksgiving. And my mom and dad at the time lived in the town of Turlock, California, which is next to Modesto, about an hour south of Sacramento. It's in the Central Valley. And so I also was living in Turlock at the time, but I was living with my ex at the time. and I had left them.
He was just a boyfriend, though.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, we weren't married or anything, and yeah, it was a whole different relationship and for another story. But anyway, I had left my ex. We had a house there in Turlock. My mom and dad had an apartment. And so when I left my ex, we'll just say the relationship started getting a little abusive. So
I don't know why you beat him up so bad. I saw those pictures he showed me. God.
Oh my gosh, shut up. All right. So, oh my gosh. So anyway, I went to go stay with my parents, and I was staying at my parents. I don't know what else to say about that.
Weren't you going to school at the same time?
Yeah, I was going to like through the unemployment office or something. I was taking like computer classes, and because I was collecting unemployment at the time, I believe, and they asked if we wanted to go to computer classes, so I went. But so I'm at my parents' house, and if many of you remember Yahoo, like Yahoo chat rooms, and I don't even know if Yahoo's around still.
I don't know.
I have no idea. So one night, I was just on the computer on the web, and I entered the Yahoo chat room. I used to just look at conversations and stuff, and so Glenn obviously had a Yahoo account too, and his profile picture was a picture of one of his huskies, Shadow. And at the time, I had 4 huskies of my own. So when I saw the picture of Shadow, I inquired about, the husky. And
I think he's a pretty dog, a nice dog.
yeah, I think my initial words were pretty dog or nice dog. And so from there, it's history. So Glenn types back. I'm not quite sure how the whole conversation went.
Why I ignored you at first?
Yeah.
I ignored it.
Yeah, he didn't respond right away. So then I figured, whatever. And I didn't try to...
Probably half a day. Or at nighttime, maybe I did it the next morning or next...
Yeah, I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, so I said, nice dog, and he didn't reply back right away, so I said, screw it. And I said, what, I thought, whatever. And I just went about my way, and the next day...
I think it was.
Yeah, because I had sent him a message at night. Then the next day I got a message from him, and I don't have no idea what he said. I don't remember.
I think I said, yeah, I know she's a nice dog.
Yeah. So anyway, we started a conversation. I have no idea what we talked about. Probably our huskies. And so that's how we initially met. And then once we got to talking on the Yahoo chat room, we just kept talking and talking.
For hours.
Yeah, for hours. We would just talk on the chat room, and we'd talk about everything we liked, and huskies obviously were the big part of that. And then
sure, fishing was.
Yeah, we talked about fishing and outdoor stuff, and even to the Ely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the real big thing. So years ago, when I was with my ex, when I lived in Battle Creek, Michigan, and then he actually was from Chicago, so we went to Chicago a lot. And after we were moving back to California, we were living with his mom in Chicago. And I had discovered through pamphlets and outdoor magazines the town of Ely, Minnesota, and I was so attracted to that town. I wanted to go so bad, but I never did. And so fast forward back to us chatting, Glenn asked me if, I don't know how exactly.
I think because I was weight pulling the dogs at the time.
Okay.
And Ely was real big into weight, not weight pulling,
Dog sledding.
dog sledding.
Yeah. So Glenn actually used to weight pull his huskies. He had 2 huskies, Yukon and Shadow. And he knew about the town of Ely.
And
Also.
wolves.
Yeah, because
Maybe that's what it was.
yeah, we both loved wolves. So we both loved wolves. And then the town of Ely. So he had started talking about the town of Ely without saying the town of Ely. And then he started describing it, and then I said, oh, it sounds like a town I always wanted to go to in Ely, Minnesota. And he was so shocked that I knew of it. And so it turned out he actually wanted to go there also.
Because Ely is just a little dot
Yeah, in northern Minnesota.
in northern, close to
But
the border
it's a
of Canada.
tourist town. So we also had that in common. We actually couldn't believe how much we had in common. Right down to the huskies, to fishing, to wanting to go to Ely, Minnesota, just the whole outdoor thing. And so that really got us talking and talking and talking. So we actually chatted every single day, every single day. And then it got to the point where it was more phone calls. Patch is going to knock this over. So yeah, that's how we met. We met in a Yahoo chat room, and we talked every day. And then we talked about other things and just, life in general, our lives and everything. And
It got to the point where I wasn't sleeping anymore.
yeah, Glenn actually wasn't sleeping. So Glenn actually grew up here, where we live
Born
right
and
now.
raised.
Born and raised. And I was born and raised in California. And so yeah, once we started talking on the phone, he wasn't sleeping anymore. It was just like talking. So
There are times I barely could take a shower. and get to work.
yeah, we would talk all through the night, and he had to go to work. So at this time, Glenn actually walked and was of normal physical movement and everything. He actually worked. He worked for CarQuest, which was a car parts store. Yeah, you worked.
Was that CarQuest or was I just doing body work?
No, you were at CarQuest.
Was there a
Yeah.
CarQuest already?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
As a salesman.
Yep, salesman at CarQuest. So, and he's a big car guy. So we would talk through the night and all through the night, and he says, okay, I got to go to work now. So he would have just enough time to take a shower and go to work. And then sometimes we'd actually even talk while you were at work. You'd call me on your break or your lunch break or something. And so yeah, we talked many nights, all night. And he didn't get a lot of sleep. And so like I said, I was collecting unemployment for the job I previously had. And so I wasn't working, but I was just going to the computer classes. And one night we were talking, and like just out of the blue, we talked about me moving here. And so it got to that point, and
That was only the second night.
so yeah, the second night.
It wasn't much longer than that, but
Yeah, yeah, we ended up talking about that. And so it was a mixture of chatting and talking. Once the chatting was done, it was all talking on the phone. And
at the time I used to smoke too.
yes, Glenn was I don't know if we ever mentioned that, but Glenn was a heavy smoker. So we got to the point when we were chatting. So maybe we were doing more chatting
on the computer.
On the computer, because he had a webcam on his computer. So, and I didn't have one, but I could see him. And he smoked a lot. And that was one of my big drawbacks, because I was never a smoker. And I was fearful of the, that he would have the smell of cigarettes and all that stuff. But there was one night we were chatting and I could see him in the webcam, and he literally, I kid you not, he literally, he's puffing a smoke in this hand, and he's going to put his cigarette down, and he's bringing up this hand with another cigarette. So as he's putting one out, he's already bringing up another one. So that's how much he smoked.
There was a few times I said, wait, I have to go to the store.
Yep. So I waited for him. So where he lived at the time, where we lived once I got here, there was a convenience store right down the road at the corner. So he was like a half a block from there, and he drank Coca-Cola from the cans. And there was a few times he would say, "Okay, hold on, I got to go get some more soda and cigarettes." So he would get in his truck and back all the way down. I couldn't see it, but he told me he would just back all the way down half the block and go in the convenience store, get his stuff, and come back. So yeah, yeah, it was a crazy time. But we just, as time went on, we got more serious, and we got to the point where we wanted to decide when I would come to Wisconsin.
Oh, it would have been cheaper.
What?
My cell phone bills were insane.
Well, yeah. It was like $1,000 cell phone bill. So
this was when I was making fairly good money.
I mean, he was living by himself, so he was, he was making fairly good money, and he didn't have nobody else there, and he was on his own, so he was saving money. So we decided that, did anything else happen in that time point?
I'm sure it was tons of stuff.
Yeah, there was so many days we talked.
We're talking 20 some odd years
ago. It was 22 years ago. So we decided the day when I would come to Wisconsin, and but we had to keep it. I had to keep it low key on my end, because I had a restraining order on my ex. He always tried to. Well, he had 2 boys, which some of you don't know this, but like I said, neither one of us have kids. But with my ex, I raised his 2 boys for 12 years. Treated them like my own, raised them like my own.
Gave them their own Christmas presents because he didn't.
Yeah, so I did everything for them as if they were my own sons. So, but when we broke up, when I left them, and he kept trying to like get back with me, and was becoming forceful. So I ended up having to take out a restraining order on him. Because the one night he actually used his sons to get me to open the door, and then he was hiding around the corner. And then once I opened the door for his sons at the door, he came around the corner, and I tried to close the door real quick, and he put his foot in the door. You remember that night? Yeah. And so he shoved his way in the apartment. My sister and my mom and dad were there, and I called, as he's like talking, I've got the cordless phone in my hand. I called 911 and hung up. And then 911 called back, and my sister answered it in the room, and she told them what was happening. So the police came, and they escorted him out. And
They should have arrested him.
Yeah, so he even like tried to give me his debit card or his whatever card, and I told him I don't want it. I don't want anything, and he threw it on the table for me to keep it. And I told him I didn't want it. So when the police got there, he said, "Well, she has my debit card," and I'm all, "It's right there. I told you I didn't want it. You threw it there." So the police escorted him out, but that really sucked of him using his boys to try to break into the house to get me to open up the door, because he knew I wouldn't not open the door for the boys. So I had a restraining order on him. So when we decided I was going to leave California and come to Wisconsin, I had to keep that really low key, because my sister had a big mouth, and I think she knew. Did she know or not? Nobody knew until it was almost time, right?
I think she knew.
Okay, she knew.
I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I told anybody. I think I told my family, but I told everybody that it's going to be low key because I didn't want Thomas to find out.
His name was Thomas.
Huh?
They don't know who Thomas is.
Yeah, I was just going to say who. Thomas is my ex. So I didn't want him to find out because he would have done something for sure. And we kept it low key. And then my family wanted to have like a going away get together. And so we did that. But I even had to keep it low key from the boys. That's what it was. I didn't want to tell Tommy and Tony, the boys, because they would tell their father. So the night before I left, we had our get together, and then I was able to leave town without Thomas finding out. And then, Glenn sent me money. He paid for my trip over there. So I took a Greyhound bus from California to Wisconsin. I think I left on a Tuesday or a Monday. And I got here on a Friday, I think.
Friday,
I must have
Friday
left.
at about 7:30.
Yeah.
8, 7, I think it was maybe 8.
Yeah. So this was winter time. So I believe I left on a Tuesday and got here Friday evening because it was dark. And I got on the Greyhound bus and came to Wisconsin.
But there were, I think, 1 day or 2 days that you didn't call me.
Yeah, so I was calling Glenn as much as I could to let him know I was okay and, still on the road. But there was like a day where I didn't call him because we actually got delayed somewhere and there was no phones. There was like a storm.
Which I should have just sent you a cell phone.
Yeah, but I had no way of calling him. I probably should have asked if anybody had a cell phone, but he was like super worried. He was going nuts.
They even called your parents.
Yeah, he called my mom and dad to find out if they had heard from me. And so finally I was able to get to a phone in Chicago, I think. So the bus ended up arriving in Chicago. I had like a couple-hour layover, I think, there.
I think so.
Yeah. So it was the day I was going to arrive here. And but I had a layover in Chicago, and I finally got to a phone, and I called them, and the relief, the sigh of relief on him. But yeah, he was like super worried, and
But you don't know.
yeah,
Here's a woman going cross country
yeah,
by herself.
yeah. So yeah. So I finally arrived here, and I got to the Greyhound bus station, and I got off the bus. I was looking for Glenn, and I didn't see him at first because you don't know, you just don't know. And I didn't see him at first.
I could have been one of these, I don't know, people that make up a big story.
Yeah.
Just to get you here.
Yeah. So, but once I got off the bus, I saw him walking from the truck.
She saw the cigarette trail.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But I saw him walking towards me he was waiting in his truck smoking up like 2 cases or 2 cartons of cigarettes. And so he was walking towards me and he gave me a big hug and a big kiss. And then we went to the truck and he opened the passenger door for me. And when I got around to the passenger door, I looked on the ground and there was this like whole pile like this round of cigarette butts right on the ground.
By my driver's side.
No, I thought it was on the passenger side. Was it on the driver's side? Because
Well,
I didn't go to the driver's side.
Yeah, you did.
Is that how I had to get in?
Well, the bus was here. I was parked over here. So we walked, and I walked you around to my...
Oh, okay. Yeah. So on the driver's side, a whole pile of cigarette butts.
Lucky I didn't drink.
Yeah. Yeah, lucky he didn't drink.
Because I would have been so drunk then.
He would have ended up some other town bus station. But so we get in the truck, or he opens the passenger door for me, and there's a rose. It wasn't like a real rose. It was...
She should realize what kind of cheapskate it was.
So there was a rose there, a single rose, and I still have that to this day. Actually...
A $3 paper rose.
And actually, I used it in a photo I took for a Valentine's Day type of card. And it was on that square table we used to have outside by the wooden wall. And I laid a rose across it, so I used it for that. But I still have it to this day, 22 years later. So we got in the truck, and did we eat first?
No, we drove.
Did we drive around first?
No,
we ate first.
Because you really didn't eat nothing.
Yeah, because I don't think I ate all day. Yeah. So we had already planned. I think we planned to go to Jalisco's.
Yeah.
So we planned.
It was actually the best restaurant.
Yeah. So it was a Mexican restaurant. We had already planned to go there for dinner, and so he picked me up, and we went to go eat first. And he had a big spicy burrito, was it? And I had cheesy enchiladas, and then so we ate and talked, and
she ate so dainty back then.
No, I didn't. I did not eat dainty. So we ate, and we were done, and then we drove around.
That's when I started taking you to show you.
Yeah,
show you places.
It was dark, but he wanted to drive me around.
That's right. I was working at CarQuest.
Yeah, you were, because you took me to show me where you worked. So he took me and drove me around to see different places. And one he wanted to show me was Gander Mountain. If you don't know what Gander Mountain is, I don't think they're... Well, they shut down here, but I don't think they're even a business anymore. But it's like a
outdoors.
Outdoor sporting goods store, like a miniature Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop. But we had one here in town, and that became our go-to store. Friday night, date night, Gander Mountain or Fleet Farm to the ice fishing section. So we're driving around. He shows me where Gander Mountain is. He shows me where he works. We went to Plymouth to Walmart.
I worked in Plymouth. Plymouth is about 15.
Yeah.
15 miles.
11 miles.
11 miles.
I did it one time.
Okay.
So he worked in Plymouth, which is 11 miles from here, and he took me there to show me where he worked. And while we were in Plymouth, he took me to Walmart so I can get some like shampoos.
Everything you needed.
Huh?
Everything you needed.
Yeah, I basically came with a duffel bag of clothes, DVD player, DVD movies, my music, the important stuff. So I had no like bath stuff, no hair washing stuff, nothing.
For hygiene.
Nothing. So he took me to Walmart and he said, "Get what you need." So I ended up getting like soaps and
I think
shampoo.
we might have got some groceries too.
Yeah, I think we got some groceries. And so we went to Walmart, and then as we're driving, we eat brats, right? Before I got here, I never heard of a brat. I kid you not, never heard of a brat. So when we're driving on the highway, Highway 23, back to Sheboygan, there was a sign out on the middle off the side of the road saying brat fry. Well, I see that and I'm thinking to myself, what? I thinking brat, like kids are brats. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking brat fry. I'm all, what the hell is that? You know, and in my mind, I'm thinking, what are they doing to kids around here? So I asked him, what is that? And he told me what a brat fry was, and I didn't take to brats at first, right? But then I like them now. I like them over the steaks. Like when we say steaks, we mean those thin hamburgers, spoon or not spoon steaks.
It's just a little. It's a flattened hamburger.
Yeah, you know when
it's a little tougher.
When I always grill out those flat hamburgers, we call those steaks because they're basically ground up ribeye or something.
They're called like a minute steak or something.
Yeah. So my mind was like, what the hell is that? What is a brat fry? And so in California, we call it grilling out. Over here, they call it a fry out. And I didn't know what the hell a fry out was. So I'll tell you about that in a little bit. But so we ended up going home after this.
I think I showed you Ma's house.
Yeah, you showed me where Carrie lived, where Ma lived. Where Todd lived, and then I think we went home. So it's later now,
yeah.
And so we went home, and the next day, when we got home, I was greeted by Shadow. Now Shadow was 13 years old. 13 years old. She was blind. She had diabetes, so she could not see or anything. And as soon as I walked in the door, she was the first one to greet me. And I bent down to pet her, and she gave me kisses right away. And Glenn says she never done that before. So I was quite happy about that. And I kid you not, in the 14 years I was with my ex, I never felt a total comfortness. Like, some moments were tense, and some moments like I didn't feel like I could just totally be myself. But the minute I walked into Glenn's house, that's where we live by the side-by-side, it was like total comfort. I was totally comfortable. He said, this is your house now. Make yourself at home. And from the moment we got there, it was just total comfortness. And I felt at home from the moment I got there. So yeah, we got there, and we just kind of sat on after I emptied my bags trying to find some clothes to sleep in, we sat on the couch for a while and watched some TV and just kind of
chill,
decompressed a little bit from everything. I called my mom and dad to let them know I was here, and so the next day, that's when we ordered Domino's, remember? Oh my God.
You snooze, you lose.
Yeah, this is one of those you snooze, you lose moments. So, I hadn't taken a shower like all week, was it? So, Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning we get up, I don't know, we got up late I think. I took a shower. We were going to order Domino's pizza. Well, we did order Domino's. And at that time, they had some cinnamon roll, little balls, cinnamon balls or whatever.
They were really good.
Yeah, they were really good. Whatever I got of them. So we placed the order, and I said, okay, I'm going to go take a shower. If it gets here, wait for me. Yeah, there was no waiting for me. So it got here while I was in the shower. And Glenn started eating the little cinnamon nuggets. And I'm all, you're already eating them? He's all, you snooze, you lose. Oh my God. So from the get-go, Glenn was himself from the get-go. When we were chatting, whatever he said how he was exactly how he was. And he never faltered from that. He never changed from that. To this day, he is the person, but except all the negativity. Yeah, he was very ornery at that time. So we had a little bit of rocky start because because of the experiences I went through with being homeless and the experience with Thomas, my ex. I was very, very much a calm person. I no longer let negativity bring me down. I didn't like to argue because for me it was a waste of time. So in that sense, we were very opposite. Because
I love to argue. I was 100% negative.
Yep, he was very negative, very ornery.
But I did tell her that.
Yep, he told me all that, and but when I saw it in real life, so yeah. Anyway, Saturday we had our Dominoes, and when did we go to Ma's for the fry out? It was
Could have been maybe Sunday.
No, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
So Glenn's ma, his sister was living with his ma at the time. She lived there, took care of her, sorta. Yeah. But she was good to us. She brought us a lot of food, so I can't talk bad about her.
She just had a little.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, a little mental.
Talking to her, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
Until she went on her spurts.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like Jekyll and Hyde at times. So, but nonetheless, she had a good heart and she was a good person. But she invited us over for dinner and
eat some fish.
Yeah, she said we're gonna fry out, and that's when I didn't know what the hell fry out was again. These people keep saying fry out, and I don't know what that is, and I asked them, what is a fry out? Because in my mind, we're taking a frying pan outside and we're frying outside or something. So, like I said, in California, we called it a barbecue. Over here, they call it a fry out. So he explained what a fry out was, and then we went to his ma's house to have fry out with brats and burgers, and Glenn told me before we went there, because I was going to meet his ma, right? That's the first time I met Ma, and he told me if I don't hold your hand or anything, right? Because he grew up and they didn't show affection, right?
None whatsoever.
Yeah, there was no affection as he was growing.
You never said I love you, or
no, there was no I love you when he was growing up. There was no affection, no hugs, no nothing. So in his mind, there was not going to be affection. So he told me, don't get mad if I don't hold your hand or anything. We're just not an affectionate family. So we get there and we sit on the couch, and right away he's holding my hand. So yeah, he grabbed my hand right away, and we were holding hands the entire time we were sitting there, and so yeah, that was something new for him. Affection was something new for him because he didn't grow up with that. So yeah, we had our food and we went back home, and there was some rocky times, as I said, or we said, that he was very ornery.
I lived with one woman.
Yeah.
For a week.
A week. Yeah, we told each other all about our exes and our lives, and so nothing he said surprised me or says now surprises me, and nothing I say surprises him.
I was dating a woman, and we decided to live together. And she was married. She was getting a divorce. And she goes to her apartment, and her ex was there. Mm-hmm. And then when she came back, she was a totally different person. She acted like I was kind of dirt. And I thought to myself, oh, I'm not living like this. And I was only with her, living together with her for a couple of days at the time. So Friday comes and Saturday comes and she goes to work.
Listen to what he did.
I called my nephew up. Let's get all this stuff out of this apartment because quite a bit of stuff was mine. And as I was getting stuff out, the night before I just had bought groceries. So I cleaned the refrigerator out on top of it.
So that's the only person he ever lived with before me. So as you can imagine, being on your own all the while, and then all of a sudden somebody is living with you permanently.
And I was on my own for quite a few years already.
Yeah. So it was a little tense for him at first. It was like, I don't know. It wasn't like bad that he didn't want to do it anymore. It was just I
started worrying about money.
Yeah, because now there was two of us, and now it was going to be more food to buy. So he always worried about money. He was always worried about money.
Even as to today.
Yeah.
I still worry about money.
And,
not as bad.
Yeah, not as bad, but he was always one to do that. So when I came along, I said I could get a job, and he did not want me to work. But I kept saying I could get a job, and he didn't want me to work. But as he soon realized it costs more money to support two people, food, and it wasn't so much.
Well, it was your Gucci purses that was killing me.
Oh my gosh! Don't believe him. So yeah, it was just quite a change for him to have somebody, 24/7 there. But it was all fine. But then he was very ornery, so it took him a lot to get him out of his.
I got mad over really small,
he got mad
stuff.
over stupid stuff, and I even told him the very first time he really got mad, and I'm thinking to myself, are you serious?
I mean, I didn't talk to her for a week.
Yeah, he would not talk for days. And if we were set to go somewhere, like fishing, yeah, you remember that, right? We were set to go fishing. Or was it the Gander Mountain?
Gander Mountain.
Gander Mountain every spring had a big fishing thing. And we
convention,
went.
Kind of like.
Yeah, little convention. They had pro anglers there and everything.
Gave stuff away. And
we had giveaways.
Something I really loved.
Yeah, we really wanted to go, and we went every year except this year. That year. So he got mad at something. And when he got mad at something at that time...
I mean, we were almost out the door.
Yeah, we could have been walking out, and he said, F it, we're not going. And
I didn't go.
No, we did not go. And there was even free fishing weekend, trout fishing.
Yeah.
We would go every year, but something happened, and he got mad.
Me so bad that I wasn't going.
Yep.
But ego in me, or whatever you would call that, I just wouldn't let loose. Wouldn't let it go.
No. The pride.
The pride.
Yeah. So we were going to free fishing weekend. We did it every year for trout. And something triggered them, and we were not going. We did not go. I kid you not. The weekend came. Are we going?
Left, and there we were.
And there
all packed up.
We had everything ready to go, and I never met somebody like that. And so I was in utter shock that he threw tantrums like this. And I just got to the point where I asked him, are you really doing this?
But speaking of tantrums, my first tantrum that I remember was when I was 4 years old.
Oh, yeah. I think it's Yeah, his tantrums didn't just come out of the blue. He had them since he was, I'll let you hear it from him.
I was 4 years old, and I had a tricycle. And it started to rain. And I wanted my tricycle put on the porch so the rain didn't bother it. And nobody would do it. So I put my hand through the window. I almost died. Because I almost hit the vein. What is that, the vein?
Yeah,
I remember my pa was carrying me, and my arm was wrapped with a towel, and the towel was so wet and dripping that it was dripping blood on the ground as he was, because the ambulance stopped a block away. They got the address wrong.
Yeah.
So my pa picked me up and started running towards the ambulance.
Oh my God. So that mental thing in him, it ran in the family, believe me. It ran in his family. And it started at 4 years, well, before he was 4, because he was doing it at 4. But yeah, I was in utter shock that...
And honestly, I'm really not, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm not nuts.
Yeah. So he says. So yeah, I literally could not believe somebody got mad over the stupidest, minute things and stayed mad for an entire week. I'm all, are you serious? I can't even. And my calm self left. There was no more calm me because
I used to call you
Marilyn
from
Northern Exposure.
Northern Exposure.
Yeah. So if any of you remember the show Northern Exposure, it took place in Alaska, and there was a little igloo woman. I don't know, Eskimo woman. Her name was Marilyn, and she was so calm, and you couldn't make her mad for nothing. And that's how Glenn actually used to call me his little Marilyn, because that's the way I was. Because after all I've been through, I was not going to let negative things affect my life anymore. And so arguing for me was a sense of just a waste of energy, a waste of life. And that's what Glenn used to call me. But as the way he was kept coming out, that little Marilyn in me,
I was losing her.
Yeah, you were losing that little Marilyn because I couldn't deal with how he was, and I just finally said, you're just wasting life being mad.
But see, the thing was, I didn't like myself. For some odd reason, I don't know why I didn't like myself. I wasn't happy. And I don't know what it was that didn't make me happy. I had everything I wanted. You know?
Yeah. So, and he even told me, it's not you, it's just that I don't like myself. And so over time, kept telling him, you're just wasting life, you're wasting precious moments. Look at the memories we could have built by going to these things, and because you want to stay mad that we're not making those memories. And over time, he just started to get calm, right?
Yeah.
And he actually started listening to me. And over time, that orneriness left for the most part.
I'm still ornery at times.
Yeah, he still can get ornery, but nothing like it was.
And I can get pissed fast.
But then
But as fast as I get pissed, I let it go.
He lets it go right away now. So that's good. And when he gets pissed fast, which is very seldom anymore, it's over something stupid or, something I did that he didn't like or whatever. We're human, right? We're all human. We're not perfect. We're not, we have a wonderful relationship, a wonderful marriage, but we're not perfect. We mess up. But a lot of how he was when in the beginning went away with time, and he even used to ask me what happened to Marilyn, and I would say to him, you drove her away. so yeah, I used to just tell him, you drove Marilyn away, she's not here anymore. because I got to the point where I didn't want to deal with that shit. You know, I got to the point where I argued back, but that was my fault because I let the way he was affect the way I was. And so...
Actually, you argue back more now than you did then, though.
Yeah.
Then you just kind of shut down.
At times. But...
I mean, now I can't shut her up.
Shut up. But yeah, do I argue back now? Sometimes. But I think sometimes I don't like to argue because when you argue, people say stupid stuff. And things you
and
can't...
I've said a lot of stupid stuff.
And things you can't take back. So I try not to argue. But it's not like we have an argument like daily. We're pretty calm and...
And this week I can remember probably 6.
Shut
up. And I told you I didn't feel like talking.
Yeah. Right before I started this video, he actually just woke up from a nap and sat up. And he says, I don't really feel like talking. And I said, well, that's okay. I'll get you to talk. And look at him. Now he won't shut up. But that's good that he's talking. He's part of the video now. And so, yeah, over time, he calmed down. But he was like super negative as well, you know. He didn't have a positive bone in his body. And I think that I changed that a little bit over time.
You did.
Yeah, because I was total opposite. I had a lot of faith in God. And
I didn't.
Yeah, he did not. Sometimes he still doesn't. But it's not like I can force him. He has to do it on his own.
Well, just what I said 2 days ago.
But I was more positive than he was. And because going back to the situations I was in with being homeless and, you know, being in my relationship with my ex, and I just had to stay positive about life, and I didn't want to waste life, you know. When you're homeless, you know, it does something to you, and you don't want to take anything for granted. You don't want to take time for granted, because time in this world can be taken away from you just like that.
But even when we went fishing, remember what I told you?
What?
When you and I went fishing, I probably won't talk.
Well, yeah. I mean, there were times when we go fishing we don't talk because we're fishing.
We're just fishing.
We're just in the moment, enjoying the moment outdoors fishing.
We'll go woohoo or something like that when we catch a nice fish.
Yeah. Every time I caught a fish, every single time I would say, "Oh, I got one," you know, and then we're back to fishing, and you know, so it's not that we didn't want to talk to each other. It's just that we're fishing. So.
And the thing is, if she would have hooked her own, or if she would have taken her own fish off, or hooked her worm on her own hook, I would have shipped it right back.
So yeah, he would have. I did all my own. Put my own bait on.
Yeah.
I actually filleted all the fish.
Yeah.
I'm the one that cleaned and filleted all the fish.
I used to.
Yeah.
When I just went by myself.
Yeah. But I don't remember you ever doing that when we were together.
Yeah, when we first got.
When we first.
Well, we didn't fillet like the northern, the red chunk.
No, oh, you used to chunk it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we caught a bunch of northern ones. This was in the marsh, right?
It could have been.
In February, maybe. So when, okay, so Glenn used to work. This is already like almost an hour long.
Really?
Yeah, 54 minutes. So anyway, Glenn was working when I got here. He started losing his ability to walk.
Couple years into it.
Yeah, about a year or two into it. And he wasn't like big or anything at that time. It's just like he always had a bad back, like since you were a kid, right?
Bad back and bad legs.
Yeah, so all that was with him since he was a kid. and now his back is full of arthritis, but he was losing the ability to walk within our first couple years together. And I had gotten a job by that time because, like we said, he was worried about money. I said, let me just get a job, because he didn't want me to work initially. He wanted to be the provider, and but I just said, let me just get a job. It'll help us out. So I got a job, and you ended up.
Well, it was only, what, a matter of... We never had 2 paychecks, did we?
No. Well, for a moment, we had 2 paychecks. Because, remember, I initially had to take the bus to work, and you were working at that time, I thought.
Weren't you working downtown?
That was only for a couple days.
Was
remember,
that for
I
that?
was working for the insurance for Sue.
I remember that, but I thought you worked downtown first.
No, I did, but that
Because there
was
was
only...
one day you first came home after it was dark already.
Yeah, that was only a couple days.
Okay.
So you were still working because you had the truck.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started working in insurance pretty much the first job I got. And so he started becoming disabled in the first couple years. So he ended up not working anymore, right?
I quit.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, I quit.
He quit his job. Him and his boss got in a huge argument, and she was just a 20-something-year-old girl.
20-year-old.
Yeah, and she did not like Glenn, and she did everything to make his life miserable at work. And
I was out on the road every day selling parts. I wasn't even supposed to be at the counter. And I used to come back, probably 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And as I came back, I had to punch all my stuff into the computer that I sold that day. And as soon as I came back off the road, her and her little 3 crony girls, all sat in the office.
yeah,
And I had to take care of customers that walked in along with all my paperwork for that same day. And it was just getting worse. I just started hating my job.
yeah, and it's
literally hating my job.
yeah. It actually started affecting him at home, and he was like getting into depression and things like that. So at that time where we lived, our rent was only $210 a month. So the money I was making, because the way he was getting, it was starting to affect us.
Really?
So I said, just quit your job, because the money I was making, I could pay the rent and the bills and whatever. So I just told him to quit. But then he started losing his ability to walk. And so he stayed home and did the home thing.
Before I lost all my mobility, I did cooking.
He did the cooking. And so, like, when I was at work, I would come home for lunch. So then I could take the truck, and I would come home for lunch, and he'd have lunch ready for me.
It wasn't much. It was soup or sandwiches. Or...
Like in the wintertime, he'd have like tomato soup, and we'd have butter bread or grilled cheese with it. And like for supper, he'd have supper ready. He made
normal meals.
Yeah, chili,
stews.
You fried up the northern
pork
pike.
chops.
Yeah, so he made all the meals, and so I was working, and he did all that stuff. But he soon lost his mobility. He even, before you totally lost it, you fell outside. That's what really caused it. So the real, what really pushed it into losing his mobility is he fell outside. The landlord...
supposed to be the handrails.
There was steps going down
like
outside.
6 steps maybe, 5
and
steps.
The landlord refused to put handrails up. There was
there
one.
There was one rusted out handrail.
But it was all shaky, and he was walking down. Yeah, and he was walking down, and he ended up falling down the steps, and that really set the tone for his legs being messed up.
I lay there for probably, 15 minutes?
Yeah, and we were able to get you up at that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's it was it's been quite the adventure. But we did everything together. We still do just everything together. We never had guys' night out or girls' night out.
That starts trouble.
Yep, that we always thought that started trouble, so we never did that. But we didn't drink at that time either. So
well, we really never drank.
no, we never
honestly.
drank. So anytime we did anything, fishing, we went. We did everything together, every single thing, even to the grocery stores and everything when he could still go in.
Remember one time when I says I want a 6-pack of beer?
Yeah.
We bought it. I never drank it that day.
It stayed there.
It stayed for, I think, a year.
Yep. So even the makings for an old-fashioned, the liquor stood up there.
I think we dumped it out.
Yeah, we ended up dumping it out when we moved. So, we did everything together. And even just going to the grocery store, we did together. We had date night every Thursday at Charco Inn North.
Yeah.
That little cafe I show you
Thursday
on the
and
corner.
Friday, actually.
Yeah.
Thursday we ate out. Friday we
Fish fry.
Friday fish fries.
Yeah.
And then we used to go to Gander Mountain or
So Thursday night was date night, and we went to Charco Inn North. We actually went
that's
in.
when I actually could go in.
He could actually go in at the time. We had our table, and we sat there and ate our burgers and stuff. Fridays was date night number 2. So back then we had Fleet Farm fishing stuff and Gander Mountain. So he would pick me up from work. So he would drop me off at work, and he would pick me up, and he said, "Where we're going tonight? Which one?" So we most likely went out to eat somewhere.
Yeah.
And then we always went to Gander Mountain or Fleet Farm every single night to walk the fishing stuff.
And we didn't spend 20 or 30 minutes there.
No, we spent hours there. So, yeah, and it's not that we needed the fishing stuff, but we bought fishing stuff.
It looked good to us.
Yeah, the fishing stuff attracts the angler, not the fish. So yeah, that was our Friday night date nights every Friday.
And then your first Valentine's.
Oh yeah, our first Valentine's Day.
Ask anybody if they still have something 22 years.
Yeah. Our first Valentine's Day, he came home from work, and I think I've told this before. He came home from work, and he said, "I'll give you a choice." He says, "Do you want flowers, or do you want a new fishing pole?" I'm all...
Rod and reel.
Yeah, rod and reel. So I'm all, "Oh, that's a no-brainer. I want a new fishing pole, a new rod and reel."
And so, she had her choice of anything she wanted.
Yeah, he said I could pick out anything I want. So we went to Gander Mountain, and I picked out a Mitchell 308. Is it? Yeah, a Mitchell 308 with a ugly stick.
Small ugly stick.
Yeah, and the ugly stick was like not the normal ones, but it was like, I don't know what it was.
The color on it, you mean?
Yeah, some special ugly stick. So that's what I got for our first Valentine's Day. And I still have that rod and reel as a set put together to this day, and I still use it for fishing. I use it for white bass and things like that. So that was my first Valentine's Day gift. I think I got you a Tika.
Was that for Valentine's or Christmas?
No, that was Valentine's. I got you a Tika. So Tikas are little micro reels.
It was because we were ice fishing at the time.
Yeah, we were ice fishing, and
it's a small little ice fishing reel.
Yeah, it's really micro reel, but it's a good one. So I went to Gander Mountain and got him a Tika reel for Christmas, or not Christmas, Valentine's Day. So yeah, usually we would always get each other fishing stuff. So yeah, we used to go to a lot of Harley events because he was big into Harleys at that time. And we used to go to, every year, one of the Harley-Davidson shops had a block party, and we used to, but you weren't able to walk back then.
It was getting hard.
Well, it was hard for him to walk, so we actually packed a lunch and sat in the truck and just people watched all day. So we used to do that every year. A lot of the things we did, got to the point where we would just pack food in the truck and sit at events and people watch.
Because I bought a Harley, an old Harley,
Yeah.
and as we were rebuilding it, I still could drive the Harley when I bought it.
Yeah.
And by the time it was rebuilt, I couldn't walk anymore.
Yep. So yeah, so the Harley is the same Harley sitting in the garage. So yeah.
I don't know how many years we've had that now.
Yeah, a long time. So, but as years go by, you know, we still do everything the same. As you know, the only time I go out without him is to run errands. Otherwise, we're always together.
No, but even back then, we used to go out and you used to run errands.
Yeah, we used to go together, and now I just go run errands. But like in the wintertime, when he's stuck in the house, you'll never see me go to the marina or anywhere to get video of the lake or anything like that, because we just don't do anything without each other like that. So yeah.
And now is the scary part.
Hmm?
And now is the scary part, if I do walk again or
Yeah.
not.
So, we've been together for 22 years now. I got here January 24, 2003.
22 and a half.
Yeah.
Almost.
So, yeah. So yeah, it's, oh, somebody asked what our age difference is. We're 9 years apart. So Glenn will be 69 in August, and I turned 59 in December. So I'll be 60 this year, and he'll be 69. So yeah, we're 9 years apart, and the rest is history. But it's been a wonderful 22 years, and like I said, I felt comfortable from the moment I got here, and it's never
Your
wavered.
spouse has to be your best friend.
Yeah, I mean
To make it work.
Yep, we're best friends, and he's the only one that matters to me, besides our fur babies.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, we're best friends, and the other night was last week. Remember, we were up till 2 a.m. talking about our exes. And,
Yeah.
we've already told each other about all of them, but there's, you know, you just get those nights where you just start talking.
About certain stuff. And
Yeah, we were up till 2 a.m. just talking about our previous relationships, and you know, but you have to have that time just talking and you know. So it's already been slightly over an hour. I'll probably have to break this up into 2 videos. So anything else we want to add?
we could probably talk for another hour.
Yeah, we could easily talk for 2 or 3
Because the more
more.
you talk, the more you think about stuff. And
Yeah, but we have so many wonderful memories that overpower any of the bad stuff that happened when we first got together. And I think
and anyone that says they don't argue,
yeah,
I find it hard to believe.
yeah, and we don't
Because then they're
argue.
holding something back, I think.
Yeah, no relationship is perfect, and everybody argues, but we actually don't argue hardly ever anymore. It was more so in the beginning, and then it just kind of died off.
Weird, a lot has to do with food.
Yeah, our difference and how you like stuff and things like that. But so that's the story of us. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Anything else you want to add?
No.
So yeah,
I can't
there's
think of-
there's so much more we can say because we've done so many things together over the years,
The
and
things I miss, I always want to walk in the woods,
yeah,
which I never did.
yeah. And Glenn always said, like, he always wanted to walk in the snow through the woods, but he never had anybody to do it with. And then once I was here, he had somebody to do it with, but he couldn't do it no more. So, But when we first got his scooter, we did go on trails. Remember at Maywood?
Maywood.
We did go through nature trails and stuff when the scooter was newer and it was working good. And yeah, we would. I would pack the backpack with fruit and stuff like watermelon and water and things like that.
Remember a hot day?
We it was super hot.
But
super
upon
hot.
and ate watermelon.
Yep, I was walking obviously, and we sat and just ate some fruit. And this was in the middle of a nature trail. But if the scooter works good, we would do that kind of thing again. So.
A lot of stuff I wish I could have done.
Yeah.
And I missed not doing it at the time.
Yep. Chimes are going outside. Windy. All right, folks. So that's, as I said, that's the story of us. We've had a wonderful life. And I pray we have many more years together. And so I hope you enjoyed the story. And but I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off here because it's 1 hour and 10 minutes already. And like Glenn said, we could just go on and on because there's so many things we've done and just so many fishing stories to tell. And
at times there are trips through the snow ice fishing.
Yeah.
The time up by Beaver
Dam.
Dam.
Yeah.
Catching a nice crappie.
Yep. We used to ice fish and so yeah, if you want to hear fishing stories, drop it down in the comments. If you had an online relation or met your significant other online, drop it down in the comments. I know there's some of you out there from the time I told this before. I know some of you have met online.
And it only took us 22 years to get married.
Yeah, yeah, only 22 years to get married. We, for those of you that don't know, we just barely got married in November, and
we didn't see the need for it.
Yeah, but maybe that's another video. We didn't see the need for it. We always just said it's just a piece of paper to, finalize our relationship because we always lived like we were married.
I know in God's eyes it's supposed to be a sin.
Yeah. But in another video, we'll tell you how married life has been for, I don't know, November, December.
December 24th.
November 22nd. That's Christmas Eve, babe.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, we'll talk about how married life has been and if it is just a piece of paper, if it made a difference. So that'll be in another video. Alrighty, so I'm going to cut this off now, and I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video and all my other videos. We appreciate you so much, and with that, remember to live life, be good to yourself, and be good to others. Until next time.
Goodbye.